Bryan Cranston is set to reprise his role as Hal Wilkerson in the upcoming revival of Malcolm in the Middle, and Cranston's Apple TV Plus comedy is the perfect show to watch in the meantime. Disney announced that it is working on a revival of Malcolm in the Middle, Bryan Cranston and Frankie Muniz's classic sitcom from the early 2000s, in December. The entire original cast of one of the best sitcoms of all time is reuniting for a 4-episode limited run, and it's promising to be just as hilarious as the original show was. Though filming of the Malcolm in the Middle revival recently finished, the actual show still won't be available for quite some time, likely not until December 2025. That's a long time to wait, and while many of Bryan Cranston's best movies and shows can help pass the time, only one of them is a perfect replacement for Malcolm in the Middle. Cranston has, after all, leaned more into drama series like Breaking Bad and Your Honor in recent years. Luckily, he also had a supporting role in Apple TV Plus' recent comedy series The Studio, and it's perfect for MITM fans. Fans waiting for the Malcolm in the Middle revival should watch Bryan Cranston in The Studio. Cranston is hilarious in The Studio, and it's a good reminder of the physical comedy he'll bring to Malcolm in the Middle. Matt, Seth Rogen, whispering in Griffin Mills, Bryan Cranston, ear during the CinemaCon presentation in The Studio Season 1 Episode 10. Image via Apple TV Plus. In Apple TV Plus' comedy series The Studio, Bryan Cranston plays Griffin Mill, the CEO of Continental Studios. Even though the studio's cast is filled with famous and talented comedians like Seth Rogen and Catherine O'Hara, Cranston is still one of the funniest actors on the show. Cranston literally only gets better as the studio goes on. Without delving into spoilers, the final 2 episodes of Season 1 put Griffin in a truly preposterous situation that makes full use of Cranston's physical comedy abilities, and it's utterly hilarious what Cranston can do with his body. Anyone who liked Hal on Malcolm in the Middle is almost guaranteed to love Griffin in The Studio. At different moments, Griffin is just as overly intense, absent-minded, and goofy as Hal is, and Cranston's brand of comedy hasn't aged a day in 20 years. They're different types of shows, one focuses on a suburban family while the other is a workplace comedy about movie studio executives, but The Studio is still a great replacement for Malcolm in the Middle. Why The Studio's reviews are so good. Critics and audiences love The Studio's humor and its critiques of show business. The Studio isn't a great show to watch just because of Bryan Cranston, though. The Studio has some tremendous reviews and a fantastic Rotten Tomatoes score at the time of writing, 93% with critics and 74% with audiences. Both critics and viewers loved The Studio's smart, fast-paced humor and its biting critiques of Hollywood and show business. The Studio's jokes are well written and hilariously well delivered, and it's got more than enough substance to go along with its humor. If nothing else, Bryan Cranston's role on The Studio makes his return to playing Hal in the Malcolm in the Middle revival even more exciting. As previously mentioned, Cranston has really begun focusing on drama since Malcolm in the Middle ended, and it's easy to forget just how funny he is as a comedic actor. The Studio is the perfect reminder of Cranston's physical comedy and impeccable comedic timing ahead of Malcolm in the Middle. Ken Kwapis, the director of the MITM revival, even commented about how he wants to remind audiences that Cranston is a comedic genius, and The Studio is the perfect way to do that. Bryan Cranston's role in The Studio is also proof that he'll be able to slip right back into the role of Hal in Malcolm in the Middle seamlessly. Cranston's years of playing Walter White haven't taken the edge of his comedic talents in the slightest, and even though nearly 20 years have passed, he can still handle Malcolm in the Middle with no trouble. If you needed proof that the Malcolm in the Middle revival is going to be worth watching, it's Bryan Cranston's The Studio.